Bhagavad-gita chapter 14, text 13, 1-3. Aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evasha tamasitani jayante vivride kurunandana aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivride kurunandana aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivride kurunandana. Can someone try?
Aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante
Vivridhe kurunandana.
Aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivridhe kurunandana.
Anyone else? Anyone could try.
Aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivridhe kurunandana.
Anyone else?
Aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivridhe kurunandana.
All right, so word for word translation. Aprakasaha, darkness. Apravriti, inactivity. Cha, and. Pramadaha, madness. Moha, illusion. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Tamasi, the mode of ignorance. Ethani, these. Jayante, are manifested. Vrivride, when developed. Kurunandana, O son of Kuru. It's a very brief purport. So let's take the translation. That was word for word translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta, the founder chair of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And the translation is also by him, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder chair of ISKCON, or International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Please kindly responsibly repeat. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion, and illusion
and illusion
are manifested.
are manifested.
When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, or son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. So, kindly listen with rapt attention to Srila Prabhupada's purport. When there is illumination, knowledge is absent. When there is illumination, when there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. One in the mode of ignorance does not walk by a regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically or for no purpose. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to walk, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. There are the symptoms. These are the symptoms of one in the mode of ignorance. Let's quickly take text 14 because it's also talking about the mode of ignorance. Yat satve pravridde tu palayan yat deha brit tadotama vidam lokan amalam pratipajati. One who dies in the mode of this is in the mode of goodness. I'm sorry. One who dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Purport. One in goodness attains higher planetary systems like Brahmaloka or Janaloka, and there enjoys godly happiness. The word amalan is significant. It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness is the purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live. Om Gyana Timaranasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Sakshoda Militam, Jena Tismai, Se Guru Namaha. So Chaitanya Manobhistan, Stafetam Jena Bhutale, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swa Padantikam. Panchakalpataribhya cha kripasunabhya eva cha patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Semate Bhaktivedanta Swami Etanamani Namaste Saraya Satadeva Gauravani Pacharine Nivisisa Sunyabhadi Pasatyu Dasatarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, these are interesting, relevant topics that deal with everyday reality, the modes of material nature. They are not abstract. By analytical evaluation of these modes, or people who are acting on different modes, or how the modes affecting the modes of ignorance and passion and goodness, how they act on people. If we have a practical analysis of these qualities, these material qualities, we'll find that we fit into, all of these different divisions. Yeah, I can say for myself. For instance, I get affected by the mode of ignorance like anything. How? I'll give you an example. On Thursday, I didn't sleep. I think I slept for maybe 1.5 hours out of the 24 hours. So on Friday, I just manage it. I don't like to take a nap in the daytime. And then on Friday, I just have to struggle so much. And I remember even in the morning when I was doing my puja, I was overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance. Sleep. Sleep is actually the mode of ignorance. And sometimes we think that, let me go and enjoy sleep. I remember when I was a young adult, when I was working, during the weekend, I take sleep medicine. Just to sleep for till the next day. Sleep on Friday, too much of work. Just rest and forget everything. Yeah, but I thought, that was enjoyment because, you sleep and you just forget about the whole problems of hustles and bustles. But yeah, Nidra, it is not something that is bad. Sometimes we think that the mode of ignorance is just totally bad. Who here doesn't sleep? I have come again, right? So sometimes I would think the mode of ignorance, that is really, is that terrible? But no. Sometimes we associate with the mode of ignorance just to stabilize our system. For instance, sleep is in the mode of ignorance, actually. But there are two types of sleeps. There is the sleep in the mode of ignorance, and there is that transcendental sleep we call yoga nidra. When the Lord goes to sleep, he's not in the mode of ignorance. He's not affected by the mode of ignorance. His type of sleep is called yoga nidra. In fact, if he goes to sleep, that is the time he creates. When he goes to rest, that's the time he's really very active. That, when Mahavishnu, lies in the causal ocean, that's the time, he breathes in and out, and universes, are generated. So, the sleep of the Lord is not in the mode of ignorance. Let's get these points clear. That makes the difference between the jiva, the conditioned jiva, and the Lord. So, the mode of ignorance is defined in the Vedic literature. Vasu yatatmya jnana varakam viparyaya jnana janakantamaha. Janakantamaha. A person in the mode of ignorance, he or she doesn't really know what is ideal for them. They don't understand the objective criterion of human existence. They don't know the purpose of life. And therefore they're involved in all types of activities just to hurt people. When each time we perform an act that someone feels hurt, that is a typical manifestation of the mode of ignorance. Because human life is meant to be anandamaya vyasa. It's meant to actually invoke, a happiness. Our purpose of life is to seek for happiness, but not transitory happiness. Some people are just happy when they inflict pain on others. They are basically described as parasuka duki. They are most happy, parasuka, most happy when they inflict pain on someone and someone is miserable. If someone is in a state of dukkha, is miserable, that is their happiness. It gives them happiness. That is a clear case, good, typical example of someone affected by the mode of ignorance. And see, the mode of, it is described here in purport, madness. What do we understand by madness? Someone has to go to see a psychiatrist, or someone is, calmed down by, social workers that, it's gone crazy. And someone is put in the remand home because, his senses are not working well. But, in the material world, everyone is almost crazy, We are crazy after something. We're just completely mad after something. I mean, it's a common, you hear this common, this common statement, you know. I'm crazy I'm crazy for that. So it's true, when our desire to achieve a particular objective could be so intense that we are just crazy for it. That's not a bad thing. But if that basically the result is that it puts someone into miseries, it hurts someone's feelings, then that action becomes the mode of ignorance. So there are no people said out there that, these people, they are actually in the mode of darkness. Because the modes are always vying for supremacy. Even someone who is an astute leader could be affected by the mode of ignorance the very next moment. In Las Vegas, someone went up onto a hotel, maybe 13th floor or something like that. And he said that he carried so many guns. I don't know how he's sneaking the guns into the hotel room, and they were so sophisticated guns. And then he opened fire on, people watching concert. And he killed 58 people with several hundreds injured. It's a typical case of someone affected by the mode of ignorance. Typical ignorance. How is it ignorance? Because the person will have to suffer so much, so many lifetimes, and be killed, be shot dead. This is the whole complication of material existence. This is the whole complication of having to be affected by material ignorance when we don't know what is not to be done or what is to be done. And then we'll go our way to act whimsically. A grown-up person, you cannot tie him to, to a place. Even kids these days, you cannot tie the kid to, the kid is just, restless. You can't tie the child to a stick. We may say, but Krishna's mother tied him to a wooden grinding mortar. You try that with any child here in New York? You will go to jail. So, the point is, there are set down rules, there are criminal codes, there are road traffic edicts, and so we are guided by laws. The Constitution is there, we are guided by laws. The action in the mode of ignorance is not only when we hurt someone. It's also, we can also engage in a consensual action, and it is unconstitutional or it's against the criminal codes. And then you have to pay, you'll be punished for it if you're caught. That is also an action in the mode of ignorance. You never hurt anyone, but it is not constitutional. It's against the laws. We may say, well, it was consensual. No. Consensus does not play a significant role here when we talk about the laws. It was consensual. Is it anti-constitutional? Or is it constitutional? So the mode of nature, people are affected by the mode of nature in so many ways. But, the connotative definition that is given in the Vedic literature is Vasuyatadmya Jnana Varakam. Like, it's similar to what Lord Brahma mentioned about Avisuddha Buddha, someone whose intelligence becomes, someone who is having impure intelligence. a sense of discrimination. Intelligence is supposed to be for discrimination. Now, when we get affected by how we saw the Buddha, we don't have that sense of discrimination. We just think that our thought pattern is perfect, and we execute the action, and here some cops come, or some neighbor calls the cops. Yeah, so see, these modes, just the mode of ignorance alone, we can discuss for days. And there's so many graphic examples. See, I don't like giving examples so much about in the Vedic literature because some of these examples are related to the Indian subcontinent. You're not in India, and some of the examples you can't even grasp. It will not make any meaning to you. Someone in New York, born in America in New York, they give gross examples of Asian Vedic culture. Some of them they don't even know what you are calling. And so I like giving examples that you can relate with. So look, this guy who shot even people at one hotel in Orlando, that's another case of someone affected by the mode of ignorance. And in most cases, people act in the way they act criminally due to some drug effects. Sometimes they have to take some drugs so that they feel high and they don't have any conscience anymore. Then they go to execute their action. And if someone kills himself, for instance, in most cases people kill themselves as a result of depression. Prolonged depression. They feel lonely and they just think, I'm suffering too much. Let me change the situation. Let me go and rest in peace. Who told you you're going to rest in peace? Again, this is a misconstruement. Ignorance makes us think, when I kill myself because of my challenges, then I go to rest in peace. And when I see obituaries, I remember one time when in Africa I was writing, when I was much younger, my earlier devotional engagements, I used to do some works in the print media. So I wrote some article about obituary, because each time you open the newspapers, daily newspapers, you find all these obituaries, especially government papers. You see several pages of obituaries, and the conclusion is people presume that when you die, you're resting in peace. May his soul rest in perfect peace. So I wrote an article on these presumptions. It's a good wish, but in most cases people they get enamored by that. Okay, I'm in trouble. If I die, I'm going to rest in peace. You understand the implications of that? Yeah. In itself, it's not a bad thing to say, may his soul rest in perfect peace, but then it gives people an impression that, oh, when I die, I'm going to rest in peace. I'm suffering so much. Let me kill myself. So back to, suicide. People commit suicide. They are affected by the mode of ignorance. That's an action in mode of ignorance. Now, in most cases, we'll find that the depression people have makes them feel lonely, or they experience loneliness. And sometimes it's so protracted, and then they want to take their lives. Or sometimes it's just some, repeated upsurge within the consciousness of wanting to take their lives. So you see how the mode of ignorance works. Each time we have a desire to kill ourselves, we should know, I'm being affected by the mode of ignorance. And so if people feel lonely, well, that's one of the symptoms of depression, the early stages of depression. You start feeling lonely. Incidentally, just in 2016, last year, 1 billion people generated messages on WhatsApp. 55 billion messages. 1 billion people on this planet generated 55 billion messages on WhatsApp. Yet, in America, according to Harris Pool, a survey by Harris Pool conducted on behalf of the American Osteopathic Association, they came up with the result that 74% of Americans experienced loneliness last year. Now, see the contrast. 55 billion messages, 55 billion social media messages. That is just WhatsApp only. We are not talking about, the other social media. Huh? We have Viber and some other, apps. So that tells us something. That although we are supposedly using this social media to communicate, we're not having a rapport that could enable satisfaction that I am having some exchanges with this person. And here, you see what happens? Just this here. Just 2017. A researcher, two researchers from, what's the name of this university? But, one of them made a report on Harvard. And they mentioned that when they investigated, I like to go into detail so that, someone doesn't say, oh, where did he get that information? As an academic, we like to be graphic. They came up with a report. They investigated what is most important, most effective, what is most result-oriented in terms of, means of communication. Is it Gmail? Is it email or face-to-face discussion? And it came up with the result that face-to-face discussions, when even you're making, say you're doing some business or you're conducting a research and then, or you are seeking for something. If you send an email, the result you get might be amazing. But if you meet a person face-to-face, it is 34 times more effective, more result-oriented than email. Then we wonder how people, although they've been having the WhatsApp, they don't meet face-to-face. They feel loneliness. And keep in mind, loneliness is a symptom of ignorance. Because loneliness is the primary stage, or one of the symptoms, primary symptoms of depression. And if you're depressed, heavily depressed, it could lead to, suicide. And so we see how the mode of ignorance is so pervasive in our societies. And therefore, this literature, what Krishna spoke in the Gita, again, if we relate that research to the Krishna's instructions in the Gita, tat vidi pranipatena, pranipastena, sevaya, upadeshyadite gyanam gyana tattva dashina. Krishna said, we should approach a spiritual master to make some inquiries, render some service and make some inquiries. Krishna, perhaps, we may say, okay, in those days, WhatsApp wasn't there. So it was more of, interpersonal relationship. So, but then we see why Krishna didn't encourage us to simply just use WhatsApp in, contacting the Guru and say, Maharaj, can I take shelter of you and all this stuff? Krishna said we should approach. So that is to really, put the mode of ignorance away from that relationship. Not to give the mode of ignorance any iota, any dime of chance. And so, whimsical activities, and we sometimes, Prabhupada will use this word. In some of his writings, he uses that word often, whimsical. Whimsical, someone who wants to do things without any genuine reason. There is no rationale. If someone does something without, you ask the person, "Why did you? Yes, please. Why did you do this?" No. I don't know. I just did it. And so that is being whimsical. If we do something without any reason, that is just being whimsical. And that is due to the effect of the mood. Sometimes we blame people. What is this? Why did you do this? And then they humbly say, "I don't know why I did it." Don't try to kill the person. They're just being sincere. They don't know why they do it. It is something that people experience. It's a lived experience that sometimes we do things without any reason. We're just whimsical. That's all. And that means we are affected by the mode of ignorance. Just see how the whole things are interrelated. And therefore, it is important for us to understand why people act in certain ways if we relate their actions to the three modes of material nature. If someone hurts us, we should think, "Oh, I just have pity for him because that was he was seriously affected by the mode of ignorance for doing that." But it doesn't mean that if someone does something that hurts you and it is unconstitutional, then you just sit back to say, "Oh, he just silly. He just act in the mode of ignorance." That's not what we are saying. You should know your rights. I remember I told one of my mentees when she was in college that, "See, can you listen?" She said, "Yes." I said, "If someone ever ever molest you, don't come and report to me." She busted out laughing. I said, "Why are you laughing?" "Because I'm serious." She said, "I understand what you mean." I said, "What do I mean?" I asked, "What do I mean? What do you understand?" She said, "You mean call the police." So, the bottom line is, people get molested, so many things happen, but we wonder why they do this. We could also create a room, create a forum where, people misunderstand our situation and they try to take undue advantage and they get into trouble. And therefore, we should create a conducive environment, conducive situation where people don't take undue advantage of our smile. Especially ladies, when you smile at somebody, some people they just think, "Oh, she likes me." But we should really have that attitude of smiling at someone. Unfortunately, people misunderstand in most cases. So the mode of ignorance is something that we can see in our interactions with people in everyday reality. Someone in the mode of ignorance, they don't know how to say, "I'm sorry." They could be top class professors. They don't know how to say that. And when someone hurts you and you open up the doors to the person, you said, "Oh, read it, look at it. This is what happened." And they are not able to say, "I'm sorry." Don't blame them. They're affected by false ego and a mode of ignorance. In fact, false ego is a typical case of someone in the mode of ignorance. Not all situations that people exhibit false ego denotes mode of ignorance, but in a number of cases, you find that they are also affected by the mode of ignorance. Because you could just tell somebody when you wrong someone and he proves to you that you wrong him or her, or you misinterpreted, or you said the wrong thing. Instead of saying, or instead of apologizing, sometimes they just keep quiet as if nothing happened. So you don't need to blame them so much. This is due to the effects of the mode of ignorance. And therefore, in the next text, text 14, Prabhupada gives in his purport that if someone dies in the mode of goodness, he attains higher planets. These higher planets where sages live. Jana Loka, Brahma Loka, these are higher planets. And so what happens with someone who dies in the mode of ignorance? He goes to hell. He goes down. And it is unfortunate that our actions, even our eating pattern, are all affected by the mode of ignorance. And the mode of ignorance is so dominant in our lives. But the good thing is that we also need the mode of ignorance to be able to go on. For instance, like I mentioned about the sleep. When we go to sleep, we need some, rejuvenation. And so devotees, they don't want to hear this, especially in the ashrams. We used to use the language, I'm going to rest. In other words, look, I'm not going to sleep, okay? Yeah, so it's not a bad thing to be really be in a material body. How we use this material body to effect a positive change in our lives and the lives of people around us is what is important. And therefore the devotee has to understand that he or she will utilize this very life. Life is too short to play around with. If we keep procrastinating, next year, in the new year, I will be serious in my devotional service. In the new year, I will start chanting 16 rounds attentively. In the new year, I will start to read daily. I'll start to read something about Prabhupada, read something about Krishna daily. Procrastination. What mode is that? Procrastination. What mode? Is it the mode? Is that in the mode of goodness? Yes, please tell us. Who can try? Procrastination. Procrastination is something that destroys our future. And destruction is ignorance, is it not? Yeah. Destruction is ignorance. When at the time of universal cataclysm, Lord Shiva effects the negative change or the destruction. Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance. But Lord Shiva is not affected by the mode of ignorance. He is the deity in charge of the mode of ignorance, but is not affected by the mode of ignorance. So he uses his potency to destroy the universe. And that destruction is in the mode of ignorance. So anything we do that results to destruction, that is influenced by the mode of ignorance. If something is instrumental to destruction, that in itself is not such a good deal. Yes, so we should think about what we do and we'll try to analyze what will be the end result of this. Is it something that is going to elevate people's consciousness? Or is this something that is going to hurt people around me? Is it something that is going to really inspire people around me? Or is it something that is going to simply, make people doubtful? So again, the Bhagavad-gita is there. And so we don't have to just come only on Saturday to listen. The discourse is the Bhagavad-gita. We should discuss Bhagavad-gita at home every day. We should read it. Because reading Bhagavad-gita also implies that we are associating with the words of Krishna. And the words of Krishna are not different from Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is absolute. Are there some comments or some questions or some challenges on this? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo.
So this week I was at work and I got a vegetable lasagna for lunch, and I was so hungry that when it came, I just started cutting it up, just eating it. Next thing you know, I realized that there are no vegetables in this lasagna.
Mm.
And I felt instantly like I went to passion and ignorance instantly. Because the texture, something hit, but I had like 3 spoons. And then I'm like, oh my god, this is not vegetables. This is not vegetables. So I started freaking out, and everyone at my job's just looking at me like, well, you're really serious about your vegetarianism, huh? And I instantly inside it, I felt like my insides was crying. Like I couldn't physically cry, but inside, even now, I still feel like, it's this animal, you know what I mean? Like inside of me. And I feel like that was kind of involuntarily the mode of ignorance or something. Because maybe somewhere along the line, I knew it was meat.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I inside it felt like I just went from here, there,
That's a good cognizance. That's a good way of, taking cognizance of what, or knowing what you're passing through. Now, some people, they have they experience those type of situations, and they don't have any compunction, and that could be very bad. So we make mistakes. To err is human. One of the deficiencies of material existence, of having a material body, is that we make mistakes. So when we make mistakes, we realize the mistake, we don't try to kill ourselves. But, we become precautious not to repeat that same mistake. So learning from our mistakes is what makes people to be great achievers. Every great achiever you hear of or you know of has experienced failures in your life or mistakes, has experienced some serious challenges. So this type of challenge, the beauty is that you realize, oh my God, this is not what I'm supposed to do. And it is a minor thing. So don't kill yourself. Okay? When this happens, you put it behind and you move on. But you learn from that, when you have to eat from outside, you see, this is the danger of trying to eat outside. You can never be sure.
Yeah.
Nothing. You can never be sure of anything. And therefore, it is important. We have to perform austerities. And that austerity means we should prepare our food. Then you can be guaranteed. Then you can offer that food to Krishna. When we prepare our food, we can offer that food to the spiritual master, to Prabhupada. And that is a big sacrifice, especially in New York, where people are so busy they don't have time. And most people have to just, go to the, to the restaurants to eat, or place an order for something to eat. You can never tell what they put, what they use in cooking. Sometimes they don't label all the stuffs. But the problem is that, we have a lot to do and we have limited time. But if we manage our 24 hours effectively, if we manage our 24-hour, most of the challenges that devotees have is due to lack of effective time management. They never taught us effective time management in devotional service. Even in college. See, I always studied about time management as one of the preliminary courses in my doctoral program, because it's a management PhD. So that was how I got exposed to time management, and I was just surprised how I have wasted so much of my time. Yeah, so we may say, I'm too busy to cook. Yeah, but you should know the challenges that come with not cooking your food. This type of experiences you're bound to have. Because sometimes the people who are cooking the food, they may not even be sincere enough. And we say this to our devotees living, like the devotees living in the temple. Anyone who are living in the temple, you will know this. That we don't encourage even our devotees to buy anything grain that is cooked by a non-devotee. Why? Because according to the Vedic literature, the person who is cooking the food, their consciousness goes into the grains. Have you asked yourself why a mom gets angry when she cooks and you don't eat? You give some excuse not to eat. She will be crazy with you. Why? Because when the mother cooks and the whole family eat, that enhances the bonding, loving relationship. If someone renders you a service, especially with food, they bound you up, they tie you up. They tie you up like this. With what? The rope of love. They tie you with the rope of love. You hearing?
Very attentively.
Yeah, so if you're not cooking for your loved ones, you're really making serious mistakes. You wonder why there are so many fractured relationships, especially in Western countries? People don't cook in the house. And so the bonding is not enhanced. The loving relationship is not enhanced. It is something internalized. I mean, like the musk deer. The musk deer hears a scent. And that scent is coming from his body. But the musk deer, he rovers around, run after all over the place, looking for where this powerful scent is coming from. He runs, like if sometimes in the forest region, he runs, and under the heat, it dies. But what he's looking for, is right inside. That's what we do. We think we can enhance our loving relationship by, external presentations only. But, when we having that rapport based on service, personal service, that's why Krishna mentioned, you have to render personal service. You have to render service to the Guru. You make inquiries. You see, when you render service to someone, it is very difficult for them to say no. It's very, very difficult for them to say no. And see, I have that weakness with my friends. I remember first time I wanted to go to Guyana, one devotee came to meet me in Mayapur, and I just turned him off. I told him, "Oh, you want the Black Swami to come? I have another God brother. I can initiate the idea to him, and he will come." He said, "No, we need you." But I turned the request down. So I traveled. When I came back to the U.S., I traveled. I was on the tour. I think, That time I was staying at New Rochelle. Yeah. So my host, Mother Villa, she called me on the phone that we wanted to come back to the US. I said, for what? She said, come back first and we'll discuss. So I came. So she made the same proposal to me that guy who came to just meet me casually, he doesn't know me, who just want to engage me. So here, when I came, she told me, we have this program. We'll arrange for your ticket and, some other devotees, and you have to lead a group to go for the preaching. So I couldn't say no, because so we're talking about love that is based on service exchange. Someone in the mode of ignorance is not interested in rendering any service. They're just interested in hurting you. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Maharaj, a lot of preachers of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, they actually get attacked a lot by people in the mode of ignorance, either physically or verbally.
Yeah.
So can you say, like, how can we, stand up for ourselves or protect ourselves, in a proper way, and not show them that we're just ready to take whatever they throw at us? It's very difficult sometimes.
So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense here. I'll give you an example. In the early days in New York here, devotees used to go out on Harinam. And in that very park where one of the places they used to go, some of these people who are also out there, trading, doing petty trading, they would just, harass them and, make joke of them and do all type of things just to irritate them. So one time, they were not going to that very spot. I think they were going to another spot. And so when they came back to that spot, one of those guys who used to make fun of them and, irritate them like anything, he came to them and said, "Where have you been? We miss you so much." So sometimes, people are attacking us. And, as Bhakti Swami will say, that is a call for love. That's a call for love. But in my own analysis, call for love, good. But if you invoke or if you embark on that call for love that contravenes the criminal codes, Vasudeva will take you to another angle. So yeah, we have to understand that is a call for love, but we have to, figure out, is this call for love, does it contravene the criminal codes? If someone comes to assault you physically, you don't say this is okay, I'm sadhu, I have to tolerate. No, there are people who could intervene. You call for, you take appropriate step. Otherwise, they will repeat the same mistakes, and then, go to, they suffer. If someone hurts a devotee, they suffer terribly. So for devotees to help them, they have to take appropriate action based on the laws, so that, the person doesn't come back to suffer so much. Yeah. But ideally, in the South, right, it is mentioned that if someone is even insulted, a devotee is insulted, some other devotees around should not tolerate it. They should take action. But sometimes the actions that are recommended, they are just so grave. Again, how do you take action? You have to relate whatever action you want to take to the laws. I'm sorry, I talk about laws so much, but that is how I survive on the planet. If someone goes the wrong way, you should help them by rectifying them. Otherwise, you just you make them to come and suffer terribly. So yeah, the insults, I remember even on public programs, on TV programs, sometimes you have the person who is asking you questions just openly attacks you. Yeah, in those cases, we have to be expert at smiling, smiling, and then you have to be courageous. You have to smile and, respond. And, when I saw Barack Obama, the ex-president, the first time I saw him on TV, one journalist, elderly journalist, was was interviewing him. And the guy was so arrogant, very insulting. And I learned so much from that interview. When he insulted Barack Obama, he leaned back, he smiled, and then he leaned forward, and then he started, unfolding his response, unfolding everything to the journalist. I thought to myself, what? A politician? He can do this? Devotees need to learn from every situation. That's the first time of my knowing Barack Obama. I just saw him on that interview. So what I'm saying, it's not something that only devotees can do, anyone can do. And even politicians are doing it, so why not? If we are devotees, why not? We have to see how we display. You see, avoid showing anger to somebody. If even they hurt you, then avoid showing anger immediately. But if you do that, they feel defeated. And the story is a long story, but I don't want to go into it. The story of Balaram Krishna and Satyaki, they were on, going on hitchhiking or whatever, and they had to sleep at a particular place. And first Balaram has to guide, because it's like a forest area where those days they have all these demons who come, human eaters who come around. So because of that, Balaram has to, be there to protect, Satyaki and Krishna when they were sleeping. They take turns. So when the two of them were sleeping, one demon came to Balaram and said, I'm a demon, I'm a human eater. I will not eat you if you allow me to eat your friends. I mean, if I eat Krishna, if he eats Krishna Satyaki, he will spare Balaram. Balaram was upset, angry. So he challenged the demon to a fight. And the more they were fighting, the more he was infuriated, angry. And the more he was angry, the more the demon was increasing in size, until he couldn't even see his face anymore. He got tired. Luckily, it was time for Krishna to Satyaki to take over. Satyaki came, he took over. The same thing happened. The same scenario of anger. And then the demon, grew in size and all this stuff. And then, later, Satyaki also had to go to sleep. The demon left. Krishna took over. And the same demon came. And when he came and made the same request to Krishna, Krishna just busted out laughing. And the demon was so infuriated. I am serious and you are laughing at me? And then Krishna just again was laughing protractedly. And the more Krishna was laughing, the more the demon was reducing in size. Instead of growing big, this time he was reducing in size. It became so small that it became like the size of a sweet ball. So Krishna just picked him up, tie him up on his story. And when they woke up in the morning, everybody woke up and they were complaining. Satyaki, Balaram were complaining about their experience. Krishna was just smiling. And they were confused because they're reporting something very serious. And Krishna was just smiling. He was not taking it seriously. So later he brought out this sweet ball and said, you mean this guy? So they asked, tell us the secret. So he narrated the whole thing. This personality, this so-called demon is anger personified. And the more you're angry, the more you're creating devastation. So sometimes you find, I saw this in the life of Bhakti Swami Maharaj, when he would be having some TV programs, like a panel program, and he's the only strange person, every other person there is a Christian or Muslim or something like that, and he was the only person who is strange, looking strange. And so sometimes the host will even openly attack him. Questions. And people are seeing. And sometimes, I remember one of the hosts, he got removed, he got fired from that job because of the way Bhakti responded. He attacked him, and then he just leaned backwards, and then, he smiled, and then he leaned forward, and then started answering his question. So people were so much touched that the management received messages, letters from people about that incident, and they got that guy fired. So yeah, and pastor chairs have done it, politicians are doing it. We have to see how we are controlling our continence. How we are controlling our temper when we are confronted by people. But it doesn't mean that if someone comes to commit criminal act, and then we just keep quiet, they will take undue advantage. Haribo, Hare Krishna. Yes.
I'll try to make this brief. About the modes. According to the scripture, it seems that the modes are acting and influencing us in different ways. So we're doing whatever we're doing, whether good or bad or in between, is because of the modes of material nature.
Not only that, not only the modes, but the modes are the predominant factors. For instance, there are other factors involved. There's the loss factor. Arjuna asked Krishna, why is someone being forced, like what you're proposing now, why is someone being forced to do things against their better judgment? Krishna responded, you see, all these things that they are in the Vedic literature, in the Bhagavad-gita itself. Krishna responded, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna, Tamubhava, Mahasano Mahapapmam, Vijanam Ihabaranam. He said, lust only, which is born in contact with the mode of passion, is the destroyer of all, circumstances. Is the source of destruction for all circumstances. It's our enemy. So he said the loss factor is what is responsible, is what generates that type of situation. Of course, in modern science, in modern research, we have in 1980, Gottfriedson and Hitchie developed the general theory of crime, which in their experiments they come to the conclusion that all crimes and antisocial behavior are due to low self-control. Rupa Goswami mentions in the Upadhyamrita that the urges, the vega, the urge to speak, the tongue, vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, the mind, anger, vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara upasta vegam, the belly, the genitals. If someone can control all of these urges, you don't have any problem with committing or getting involved in antisocial behavior or crime. In fact, Rupa went ahead to mention that you can be a global leader. You can be a global leader if you have control over what you speak. If you have control over the mind, anger, the belly, the genitals. And we see these are the things that are bringing trouble in the world. So yeah, what I'm saying is not just only the modes, there are other causative factors. There are other endogenous factors that are contributing to, crime and antisocial behavior. All right. So we end here, and just in case you have some questions and you're not able to have a chance to answer, He has my email. You can contact me. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Right. His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.